Hello there, Trats. MegaMogwai here, and I got another Legends of Runeterra video for you guys today. And today we're going to start off the video by talking a little bit about a champion that many of you have been asking me to feature on the channel again. And that is your boy, Yasuo, or as I like to call him, Nothing Personal Kid. Now, this is a deck originally built around Yasuo, but the reason why we're going to be talking about Yasuo is not really a good reason. Like, we're not going to be saying too many positive things about this champion, unfortunately. I got to be honest with you guys. It's one of the things that I, take it upon myself to do with my YouTube videos. Like, I'm not going to just go ahead and say, oh, this underrated champion is actually incredible and I have this amazing deck with him, because that's not true. Yasuo is a decent champion, but nowhere near close to top tier. He's actually pretty weak compared to the other ones, and the reason why is because the stun or recall sort of effects that we have, and the stun mechanic in general, doesn't really care too much about damage. I compare Yasuo a lot to Faye Blade Twirler. Faye Blade Twirler is actually a really good card, and there's some very neat decks you can build around her because she has quick attack and benefits from stun or recall effects. Now, the reason why Faye works really well with stun is because you're increasing her attack stat, which is translating into more potential damage towards the opponent, which is the kind of thing that you want to be able to push for when you're stunning or recalling your opponent's units, or even your own through some Katarina synergy, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. So Faye actually has some positive synergy, as I like to call it, with stun effects, because you're increasing her attack. She has quick attack, so if you stun some key creatures from your opponent, it makes it very hard for your opponent to block, and she becomes a threat really early on if you have the right deck to support her. She's a good card with stun cards. Unfortunately, Yasuo's effect is a little bit redundant, because a lot of times when I'm stunning a unit, I'm incapacitating it. Yeah, there we go. Incapacitating it for a round, right? So I don't really care about damaging it. Like, the reason why I would care about damaging it is because the match is going to drag out more, and I want to remove that creature from the board, right? To not deal with it the next turn. It's not a bad effect. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just redundant. Damaging alongside stun, I don't think is really that great of a bonus. And I feel like Yasuo has a lot of downsides. For 4 mana, 4/3 with quick attack is also not great at all. You have Draven for 3 mana that has 1 less attack, but pretty much the same stats more or less, and it's just 1 mana less is a huge difference. I think Yasuo maybe would be better if he was a 3 mana 3/3 with quick attack, but I feel like the payoff that you get with Yasuo is only really relevant when you combine him with the likes of Intimidating Roar. That's the main reason to play Yasuo, right? So unfortunately, the payoff is not that big, and he's also very weak to Frostbite, amongst other things. Against Freljord, when you level up Yasuo, you are in a way downgrading him, because 1 Frostbite will just deny his ability for an entire round, which can be pretty brutal, especially considering Frostbites come at you at burst speed. And overall, I just haven't really felt super happy with this card. I feel like I've done the best that you can do at building a deck around him, but there's just not enough support. Maybe things change when new cards come around, but I think it's an inherently core problem with the design of the card. Like I said, stun with damaging, redundant. Stun with attack boosting on a quick attack body, not so redundant. Really good, right? So that's basically what I'm in my Yasuo talk right there, just to clarify my thoughts here. So what are we doing here then? Why am I even showcasing this deck? Because in my search, or in my path to make Yasuo great, I stumbled upon another hidden gem that I think is criminally underrated, and is a champion that you can expect me to dive into for the next few days on this channel quite a bit, as I'm going to design on today's stream a deck purely built around her, and that is none other than Katarina. Katarina is super underrated as a champion, and I believe the reason why is because most players do not know how to use her properly. She's not a very intuitive champion to play. She's actually very skill intensive, but in the hands of a good player who knows what they're doing, she is a menace, an absolute menace. Her ability to set up multiple rallies in a turn is brutal, And a lot of times people compare her to Relentless Pursuit, but they're two very different cards, because Relentless Pursuit is more of like a surprise factor that you're going for, right? To get an extra attack to finish off your opponent. Katarina is a card that really benefits from other fellow quick attackers and that applies a lot of board pressure, and just all she requires you to do is to have a strong board presence to begin with to start threatening your opponent. And she actually really benefits from stun effects. Stun and frostbite effects are really good with Katarina because they are very powerful effects that are basically limited in their power because they only last a round, right? But if you have the ability to attack multiple times in a round, these effects are exacerbated, and all of a sudden you're nullifying your opponent's defenses and hitting them multiple times, which is where Katarina really shines. Her synergy with Faye. Blade Twirler is fantastic. You put her in front of Faye, you let her strike, recall her, and then this will pump up Faye's attack by 2, which applies a lot of pressure. And we have a bunch of stun synergies, and inherently like what is a deck built around Yasuo, but a deck in which Katarina really puts in the work. And today I'm going to feature a very special type of gameplay. I recorded a live session and I ran into a deck that's becoming really popular in Masters rank right now, which is Warmother Shadow Owls for all your control. So that is a deck that's been really, plaguing the ladder as of late, and is a sort of matchup in which Katarina really shines. And I want to showcase that in this deck in action. What is otherwise a very tricky matchup because I'm playing a Yasuo deck, which is more dependent on my opponent having creatures, so it can be really awkward. But I'm pretty happy with how I navigated the games. I think it's really good quality content when it comes to competitive gameplay, and I think you guys will enjoy it. So that's all I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna let you guys watch the games. Check out this deck in action. We see cards like Yone, Minna with support from Greenglade Lookout put in the work as well. As I put a lot of thought into this deck. Like I said, I spent the entire stream trying to make Yasuo work, and the thing is, a lot of the cards that support Yasuo are pretty good on their own, and you can expect me to feature a new deck more fine-tuned for Katarina specifically tomorrow, which I'm very excited for, so hopefully you guys are as well. And that's all I gotta say. Have a solid day. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry for not providing proper Yasuo content, but like I said, I'm just limited in that regard, and I think everybody is because of the nature of the card. But maybe with future card expansions, things change. And yeah, have a solid day. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the games. Subscribe for daily Runeterra content, and I'll stop talking. I'll see you tomorrow. Right, here we go. It seems right off the bat we're facing Warmother control. This is a deck that revolves around our opponent, utilizing Warmother's call in the late game to summon all these Anivias and Trindamirs. Their early to mid game is comprised of answers, so stuff that we want to keep. Spirit's Refuge is incredibly important as it can bypass something like an Undying, Grasp of the Undying actually, is how you say the card, and other sources of damage-based removal, so we want to replace Intimidating Roar. Not really much use to this card in this matchup. Will of Ionia as well. Yasuo I would like to keep, but I'm honestly going to mulligan as well because I'm searching for a bit of an earlier curve going on here. We get another Spirit's Refuge, which is neat, but stuff like Shadow Assassin is better. I would like to see a 2-drop here, like a Faye. That would be a nice draw. Okay, no. I cry every time. So we miss our second turn, which is pretty important, but regardless, we can play Shadow Assassin here and we can try to apply some damage.
I will play my part.
We're in a race here. We are in a race here. Yeah. As our opponent just goes for a ramp spell. And now see, the House Spider would have been nice to get earlier on. Okay, so now that my opponent is basically tapping out, I'm gonna be playing Yasuo.
I go where the road takes me.
I go where the road takes me. Because I'm edgy. Our opponent's already ramped significantly, like he's at 8, inherently 8 mana here. He's not at Ruination levels yet. We gotta keep in mind that we wanna have access to these Spirit's Refuge. So what we wanna do here, I believe we wanna play the House Spider. We're at 8 mana, which means this threatens 3 more damage. We could see an Avalanche here. Yeah. that's the case, I'll take it.
Life and death on the blade's edge.
As we're gonna attack now. We're gonna pass. So that house spiders, like we missed out on damage there, but my opponent would have done something else. I didn't want to commit a sentry and then lose my spirit's refuge and not be able to do that. Now we do this. That's what we have this for. We could see another Grasp of the Undying, and unfortunately, there's not much we can do to that. We'll drop a sentry, just to have a little bit of board presence here. I could try to play the Minotaur Reckoner. Unfortunately, I don't want to play into a Ruination, but I feel like I'm gonna attack. See what he does. Just does that.
For the right coin.
So now I'm gonna play the Minotaur Reckoner.
A true Freljordian welcome.
It's fine. We're gonna stun this.
I'm getting warmed up.
Unfortunately, like this is the Warmother's turn, and we haven't really been able to. Yeah, we haven't been able to do much.
A new era begins.
Oh boy.
I'll do what must be done.
We're gonna play Yone. And that's gotta be it for now. We do have the intimidating roar, so we can use it here. Unfortunately, my opponent has a Ruination. We just kind of like lose the game, so we have to go for this way. We have to do this. Like it's now or never. We have to go for the kill here.
As I feared, they've returned.
All right. I can't believe it, man. One. We missed on one. If we had connected that attack prior,
Negotiations are over.
we're missing on one. I don't see how we can get that value back here.
I'm getting warmed up.
Maybe there's a chance.
I bring the storm.
This is a total of we still survive with this, so all right.
Bury all in snow.
This is our last chance. Shadow Assassin.
Silent.
Silent as death. It's all you, Shadow Assassin. We go for the Bull of Ionia. We stick her down again.
The order rewards its faithful.
We draw a card here. Alright. 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 Here we go. Now or never.
Cannot hide.
Hey! 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 That's how you do it. Oh, we had the barrier backup. I was worried about like a vengeance, basically, but it was very lucky for them to have double answer. Oh, that was so clutch. Yeah, normally in that matchup, we really rely on Katarina. Katarina puts in tremendous work in that matchup, but it's also like, it's very important for us to deal more damage earlier on. Like, we were able to use Twin Disciplines there to bypass She Who Wonders and get a huge hit off on our opponent. But that Shadow Assassin was so key. But the thing is, like, we need to apply more pressure, right? We need to get our 2 drops earlier on. Faye, build her up so we can get some good damage on our opponent, and then finish them off with you know, some surprise like stun plays here and there. Like, even surprisingly, like Intimidating Roar is actually really good against them because it hits Anivia, right, and it hits the archers. And the only things that it doesn't hit are Tryndamere and She Who Wonders, which I believe is, I mean, that guy was playing 2 copies over, which seems a little bit excessive, but we hit a lot of their creatures with that, so yeah. nice way to start the video. Let's go to the next one. Alright, so more Warmother control, I guess, with Thresh this time around. So again, for this matchup, we need a low curve. Let's mulligan absolutely everything and search for our early game. That's more like a Katarina. Very important here. But we have to be very, very wise with Katarina in this matchup. Let's pass here. We're gonna go with the House Spider. House Spider, a really solid 2-drop both against aggro and control. Specifically against mid-range, it's more but against aggro and control, she's really solid because she spreads out in 2 different bodies, which makes it so that my opponent rarely is able to trade into her with just 1 card. Like, obviously Avalanche, you know, is something that we're vulnerable to, but we're not going to be playing into that. Like, we would never drop Katarina here and just be vulnerable to that. We go for an open attack immediately. They could just go for the ramp here, but we don't play into that. We pass. We float this mana. We don't overcommit. We wait for the opening. Interesting. I don't want to play this into an Avalanche because I could play this in Will of Ionia at back, but then I tap myself out, and that's just not good. So I'm going to pass here as well. He's not giving us the opening. Again, I could play the House Spider. I really could. If he goes for an Avalanche, I think it's fine, right? I'm playing into it, but the question is, does this man have an answer for Katarina? He could have another Avalanche, but we're gonna try to go for it.
No going.
Because we're out of Grasp of the Undying range.
They're afraid. They should be.
Yes, there we go.
No
Very-
one gets in my way.
Very important. The fact that we managed to level her up, very, very important. We have to use Katarina very wisely this game. Spirit's Refuge, key card. Absolutely key. Instead of just dropping Katarina immediately, we want to start developing a board.
I cannot be sated.
And that is a good target for us. To just start developing these. Right, so next turn we have a total of 7 main mana. And then whatever we float here. So if we go for Will of Ionia, that means we have a total of 9 mana, which does enable us to go for Katarina and a Spirit's Refuge the same turn. So I think this does warrant us going for a Will of Ionia here. Offensive Will of Ionia. If I play Arachnoid Sentry, this is annoying. I can go for the attack. I'm gonna go for the attack here. Maybe I could have passed. Maybe I should have probably passed there. If I drop Katarina now, he's waiting for me to play Katarina. I've enabled the Black Spear, amongst other things. If I go for Katarina now, I can protect her.
No going back.
I have protection for her.
They're afraid. They should be.
Nice. I could go for this, but if he has another Vile Feast, he could, you know, power through it. Twin Disciplines protects her, 100%. I don't prevent the health gain, but I do keep Katarina alive, which I think is very, very important. I like this Green Glade lookout. I mean, it's all right. It's not amazing. I have to navigate through his defenses with Katarina here. I have to make really good use of Minna and Joan here. Minna can be absolutely brutal, so we have to find, you know, sneak in our way here.
In my way.
I love seeing that there. I have to think here, because next turn I don't want to play into Ruination here. So if I play Katarina now and I attack, I can trade those two for that. I don't really get going anywhere. If I play Katarina to enable that, no. My answer is to play you.
Patrol 1, Patrol 2, Patrol 3.
My answer is to play you. We're keeping Ruination in mind here. So let's float this mana. Instead of playing Yone, we're gonna play the Arachnoid Sentry. Though we are playing into Avalanche here. We are playing into Avalanche.
Our strength is yours.
What have we here?
We could go for Will of Ionia, but I'd rather keep it like this.
This is our homeland.
Here, sound the alarm. Another reinforcement.
Let the bloodshed begin. To the point.
Stand and defend.
Bring the others. Affirmative.
Let's see what he does. This line of play may seem a little bit weird, but I'm trying to basically, first of all, I'm getting Minna at, you know, Joan cost level, and if he does something like this, surprise, motherfucker.
You'll wanna give me some space. Promise.
This is what I wanted to set up. I wanted him to, like, play into this, thinking he's taking back control of the board, and then surprise Minna him. This is a very tricky matchup to navigate around. It's hard. It's hard to win, but there's always a way. If your deck is built properly with stuff like Katarina, there's always a way. You also gotta lure your opponent into, you know, a false sense of security as well.
Don't you dare!
Because of the Green Glade Lookout, we were able to preserve enough mana to use Will of Ionia there.
Focus earthward, aim skyward.
Let's attack. Let's reconnect. I think it may have disconnected there for a second. That was weird. This is really, really key. I actually need him to play something here. I need him to play a big unit here. Come on. Come on, go for it, buddy. Go for it.
Many tribes under one banner.
Okay, so double Avarus and Hearthguard.
Never play big.
He's preserving mana for some reason. Do I go for the Guile here? If I attack, I just trade those two anyways. Like if I don't do that, he's forced to play the other guy regardless. But if I do this and he has an answer for Katarina, then he's forced to bypass it. I'm not sure if this Guile is correct. I'm gonna go for it. I think it's correct.
Relax and strike.
He must have a Grasp of the Undying. Ah, fuck. If I had a shield, this game would be over. If I had a shield, this game would be over. Alright, Minotaur Reckoner is really interesting. If I had a Soul Forge or a Twin Disciplines, that game would be over right then and there.
Avarosas, stand together.
We'll take the hit. What if he has a Ruination? Do I wait? I'm gonna play this.
Anything for the right coin. The Warmother will unite us all.
Alright. That means he doesn't have Ruination.
Our strength is yours.
That means he does not have Ruination. Which means we're going for Yone. We're going for the Yone kill.
I'm getting warmed up.
Ah, there's the Spirit Refuge. Okay, whatever. Let's do this.
Free and lonesome as a summer breeze.
So young, so careless.
Ruination absolutely destroys us. But we're going for it. We're going for it. We're going for it. And we take it! And we take it! That's how you do it, man! Oh, such a tricky matchup. I have no water. I need some H2O after that. Whoo! What a, like, we climbed a lot in just 2 games. Holy crap. Oh boy. How long was that? Like, those games felt pretty long. Oh my god.